Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show. Today, we have a special guest, Miss Elaine Lehman, the new Volunteer Executive Director of the Filipino-American Council of Greater Chicago, or FACGC. I invited Miss Elaine Lehman here today because she is the woman of the hour in this community right now, and because of the she is in the center of controversy in our community, and I'm really honored that she's here today to talk to us about, to reveal herself, and also to talk to us about what's really going on behind the Rizal Center controversy. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm very
Um,
honored.
We are really honored because our community does not really know you. This is the first time you're appearing to our show, on our show today, and uh, because we really got interested in inviting you because of this series of rallies that are going on in our community. First thing, you have to introduce yourself first to our viewing audience. Miss Elaine Lehman.
Thank you. Well, my name is Elaine Lehman, and I am the new Executive Director of the Filipino American Council of Greater Chicago, and I also oversee the property, the Rizal Community Center, that is home to all Filipinos, Filipino Americans, and the broader community. So thank you for having me.
Oh, well, okay. I want you're sitting here with me right now, and I would like to take advantage of a series of questions that I will pose on you. And because our audience and our community should really know you, Elaine. Um, there have been a series of rallies going on in our community by some community members, had being led by Mr. Jerry Clarito of A Fire. And they have been shouting and screaming that the Rizal Center, Rizal Community Center, which is the building that where the FACGC is being housed, is being what
Overtaken?
overtaken
Yes.
by strangers.
Hey. Well,
But
yes.
wait, the FACGC is being led by Dr. Crisostomo,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And Dr. Rufino Crisostomo is as president, appointed you, or did he appoint you
Actually,
as
the board appointed me.
volunteer
Well, no, I was in,
executive director?
he didn't do it solely on his own. Actually, the board of directors, at the time it was called Board of Trustees, unanimously voted to appoint me the executive director. And Dr. Crisostomo is the chair of that board. So under his leadership, we have been doing a lot of the work and being transparent with the board. The one thing I have to say, though, in terms about the rallies that you mentioned, is that no one can ever say that our community is boring. There's a lot of energy there, a lot of, just a lot of spice, and that's what makes it so interesting to be with.
Our community is always exciting.
Our community is always exciting.
I grew
no
up.
matter what.
I grew up in this community.
Yes. So it's very exciting, and there's a lot of diversity in there, even among the Filipino and Filipino American communities. So I welcome the challenge that we have. So no, it's not being overtaken. There's no dictatorship. What we're doing is we're actually seeking, in a very systematic way, to restore the center back to what it was supposed to be when with the vision of our founding members, to be a community center for everyone and to serve our community. So the community is not just Filipino and Filipino American, but also the broader community in which we live, the broader community of Chicago. So it's basically we are looking at what the founding members did for the community. We're trying to listen to their voices in the hallways and to try to see the center through their eyes, their vision, so that we can restore it and bring it back to the community. I mean, previously, Veronica, actually, for the last 15 years or so, the Rizal Center was run as a social club for a very select few, right? An exclusive club. And the intention and more specifically, the way that it was set up as a nonprofit is meant to be a public benefit and to serve community. So when I do things, it's always in compliance with how are we designated with the Internal Revenue Service. And we're a 501c3. We're there for the public and to serve the community. So no, restoring for community.
Elaine, well, isn't this a position that you're holding as a volunteer executive director is something really very new for you? Are you used to doing work like this before?
Yes, I am. I do a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of philanthropy, and this is really a labor of love. So what it does is it actually incorporates my advocacy work for community, as well as my love of putting things together in strategic planning and all of the past experiences that I've had in professional life. So it brings everything together: real estate, culture, the arts, education, community engagement and advocacy. It brings everything together, and this is a labor of love for the Filipino community, Filipino American community here in the Chicago area, the greater Chicago area. And it's something that I'm dedicated to completing and bringing to fruition.
Okay, now we start.
Uh-oh.
I prepared a series of questions for
Okay.
you. Number one, uh, from the rallyist, okay? These are what they were shouting about you, and about Dr. Crisostomo, and about the Rizal Center. Number one, they're saying you're not a Filipino, or you are un-Filipino. You close the national hero Dr. Jose Rizal's mini library in the display of arts and artifacts, and that is being un-Filipino. What can you say about that? There's a big group of association called Knights of Rizal that are really very adamant about what you did.
Well, I think that what we did was we actually moved the library and the artifacts, which are owned by the Filipino American Council of Greater Chicago, from an area that's underutilized and not visited to going into a different room that would actually be visited our intention is for it to be visited by more people and to be more in the public view, so that people could actually appreciate it a little bit more, rather than being behind a locked door. So so no, I don't think that that's un-Filipino. The action that I took, it's more Filipino because we're trying to bring it to the public, so that the public, not only Filipinos and Filipino Americans, but other people who come into the center, will be able to see the books, the books on a rotating basis, as well as the artifacts that we have, and to be able to gain a deeper appreciation and understanding of the Filipino culture and the arts that we have and our traditions.
Good. Okay, next question. You closed the Mama Mary Sanctuary and had her sacred image transferred to another place. It's because you are not a Catholic. Majority of Filipinos are Catholics. And it's because you are a Jewish woman or Jewish married. Oh, well,
I
you're
am
married,
Jewish,
so you're
and I am
Jewish,
yes, I
right?
am.
And
Yes.
your husband is Jewish.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
what can you say?
well, I think that those are two separate issues. My religion, my chosen religion, has nothing to do with the actions. We are not a religious organization. We are a nonprofit, and we, even as the Catholic Charities at a training said, that if there's a risk of offending another group, then as an organization that is not designated as a religious organization, that we cannot show religious icons, or we shouldn't show them. So in regard to this room, there's another issue. Okay, so this room is underutilized. It was underutilized, and it had a religious icon in it, and the religious icon was carried each month. I mean, one day a month would be carried by staff down the stairs to the auditorium, used for a religious service, then carried by staff back to the room, and that would be it. And no one visited the icon in the room. So we're dealing not even just with two issues, but we're dealing with three. The use of the space, which cost money, the use of labor, which costs money and time, and then we have a religious icon that someone just visits once a month in the auditorium. And so all of the things that were taken were done because one, we don't want to offend other groups. We don't want to give the appearance in any way of preferential treatment, because the Catholicism, yes, it's a very large component of Filipino and Filipino culture, culture and history, but it's not the only thing. There are other Filipinos who are not Catholic who have asked questions as to why they were being treated differently than the Catholic groups. There are other Christian groups who visit this, use some of our spaces. They have to pay, but the Catholic group isn't paying. So the thing is that we are following federal law of non-discrimination, and we are also maintaining our nonprofit status, that we're not a religious organization, and we cannot do anything to jeopardize our standing as a nonprofit. So that is why the room was changed, and actually what we did was, because there had been so much concern about the care of this statue, is that the Archdiocese of Chicago actually agreed to accept it and to give it a proper home where a large congregation would actually be able to view it on a daily basis, rather than a small group of people once a month to see it. So the Archdiocese of Chicago is actually willing to accept it.
Maybe once in a while there can be a Catholic mass there, or should it be ecumenical?
Well, the whole thing is that we're not a religious organization, so
Well,
it would be
for a religious
sure.
function.
So it would be under the context of culture and history that a religious function would be, but we would not be able to host that as an organization, again, because of our 501c3 status.
So where is the statue of Mama Mary now? Where
Well,
is it
Currently,
transferred?
so currently, a board member, Carmen Estasios, who also works for the Secretary of State, she asked if she could care for it temporarily, but we have told her that the Archdiocese of Chicago has accepted to take care of the statue, and for it to be able to have, to have a home fairly quickly, rather than being transferred from home to home, and to be in temporary status all the time. So
I see. All right. Next question. You evicted a civic and humanitarian service called A Fire. This organization is serving seniors and immigrants and refugees. in this community. So, did you do that?
No, they're still there.
They're still
There.
there.
I think so. I
But
think
are they allowed to do business there
yes.
right now?
Yes. What happened is that we had scheduled for work, maintenance work, and preparatory work for pest and rodent control. We found out that the former building administrator had not maintained the building since 2014 for rodent control, and while it is maintained, you know, as a community center, we have to maintain the building for public safety and well-being of our patrons and our event users as well as the tenant. So when we found that there was some evidence, like on the outside of the perimeters out of it, we did schedule for prep work to be done, and we told them that the building would be closed from 5 p.m. on a Friday night to 9 p.m. On Monday morning. And I'm not sure how that became an evictionary process, as I was told by this group, but they used that as kind of an excuse for for a splinter group to actually come in and to enter the building unauthorized. The tenant gave a building entrance key to an unauthorized person, and these people entered the building. And all of a sudden there was a protest about evictions, but basically it was basically a weekend to do prep work. We did fumigation. We had to pull desks and chairs and things out of rooms to be able to do work, which has now, because of all of the protests and everything that has gone on, had to be rescheduled. But that's not an eviction. That's doing maintenance work.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So wrong,
Yeah,
non-eviction. All
Not
right.
an eviction.
So, what other organizations or groups that are renting at the Rizal Center have been evicted so far?
Well, we only have one commercial tenant, of Fire Chicago, and there are event users there and I think people are wondering about the Joy Dance Club. And so the Joy Dance Club has been there for some time, and what has happened is they haven't been evicted. The activities have actually been suspended because because the center in 2010, the leadership let our permit of public amusement lapse, and we are required to have that in order to rent space facilities to organizations that have the charge for charge events to the public. So we the Joy Dance Club, it was learned, does charge to patrons to come in and dance, and since we do not have a permit for public amusement, we have had to suspend it so that we're working towards compliance. And something that we haven't talked about is throughout this year, and we're still very much in the early part of the year, we have been working very diligently for the Filipino American Council of Greater Chicago to move towards a better fiscal management and to be in compliance with a number of regulating agencies. One of them was the Office of the Illinois Attorney General. We had lost our charitable organization status in 2003 because the past president, who also acted as attorney, failed to file the annual reports. And technically what happens with that is that when it's canceled, an organization is supposed to cease to exist. And it also makes it so that the organization is not able to raise funds to properly maintain itself. So this year we worked really hard to get that. It was a directive that Dr. Crisostomo gave, and we recently got that. I think the letter is dated April 13th, and we posted it online so people could see it. But with that, a reinstatement, getting reinstated with our charitable organization status, comes the rigorous responsibility to become compliant with the rest of the different areas and licenses. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, correct. But what I was thinking was, since 2010 until the present time, these people kept on doing their dance activities there without the required license. You mean? So they were doing it kind of illegally, not in compliance
Well,
with it?
they were, so,
Who allowed them? They were not in compliance with it.
well, my understanding is that they spoke to the past president, and that he had advised them in some ways. I don't know whether that's true or not. All I know is that in 2010 it was discovered that it lapsed, and there was some ambiguity. I was told it was a private event, but a couple of weeks ago, some patrons came by and asked about it, and they were very insistent that they paid to come and dance. And as a result of that, especially because we are in conversation of trying to have our permit for public amusement reinstated, we have had to suspend any activities that could actually jeopardize our standing.
Was there any income coming to the FACC with these people, allowing them to dance?
Nominal. So,
Nominal.
yes.
Okay. Well, all right. Now, I like this next question.
Oh no.
Be ready.
Oh no.
Okay. One accusation was that you and your husband are occupying the building of the Rizal Center as your residence. Is that true?
Where did you pick me up, Dr. Crisostomo? Today? No, we live in the neighborhood.
Ah, my goodness, that is really wild, right?
Yeah, but well, I mean, you can have it. So I guess if our residence is the entire Lakeview neighborhood, then why not say yes? But what I want to say is they're giving
I
me
would be so scared to live in a Rizal Center. There are ghosts there.
I know, that's what I heard. But what I want to say also is they're giving me such great ideas that they're giving me such great ideas. You never know. So.
Okay. Well, all right. What else can you say about other accusations that are being labeled against you?
How many are there? No. I think
You've
I,
answered the,
I think
four
I-
so far.
I think that a lot of the accusations are unfounded, and I think that I don't really have to explain situations. Our actions and the achievements that we've obtained so far speak for themselves, and that what we want to do is we want to be able to build relationships within the community and as well as around the community. So that means the broader Chicago community. And I think that we cannot continue to act in the same way as we have in the past, because we're only bound to repeat the same mistakes, and we have nowhere to go but forward. Otherwise, we will lose the Rizal Community Center. So,
Good. Elaine, aren't you afraid that you might get harmed by these people in our community for doing things like this?
no, because I already was, so it doesn't matter anymore. So,
Brave
I
girl.
don't. I mean, I'm not harmed. I mean, I was assaulted, but I wasn't harmed.
Look at this tiny
So,
girl,
yeah.
but brave,
Thank
huh?
you. Yes.
Wow, gutsy, gutsy. Okay, what is your motive in doing this?
I just happen to be a Filipino who cares, and this organization is one of the oldest Filipino American organizations in the United States. It was established in March of 1953. We are the only Filipino American organization that owns a property here in this region, and I just think that it would be a humiliating shame if we, because of internal fightings and hubris, were to lose this. It's highly irresponsible to the founding members who purchased the building, and it's highly irresponsible to the community, as well as to the Philippine culture. I mean, we represent Philippines, and this is how we're acting here in the United States. It's just bad publicity, bad manners all around.
Okay, personal question. You, I can really understand how you feel as a Filipino, but um, having been raised and grew up in a city far away from Chicago, which is New York, uh, why why do you feel that way for Chicago's Filipino American Council of Chicago and the Rizal Center?
Well, I grew up in Chicago. I was born in the Philippines, and and then I grew up in Chicago. Um, and I think that we need to move beyond regionalism and beyond tribalisms. And as a Filipina, I feel that I do not need someone's consent to be part of a Filipino community or to feel a concern about a region or an area's Filipino concerns. If it needs help, or if I can support it in any way and contribute through efforts, then I will. I don't need anyone's consent.
Good answer. Oh, do you have projects lined up for, well, as executive director right now, I bet you have projects lined up so the center could really get going. What are those?
Well, we have a lot of things planned. I mean, we continue to look at the infrastructure, both in terms of the administration and the fiscal infrastructure. We're looking at different revenue streams to be able to maintain operations and to bring in new programs. We have existing programs such as the monthly food distribution in partnership with the Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Chicago for low-income seniors that we want to enhance, and just to make sure that all of the participants are understand, the guidelines that we also have to follow. I know there were a lot of questions about like showing IDs and proxies and things like that. So we need to be able to build a better understanding there. In line with that, we also have a seniors health maintenance program so that when they come to pick up their food distribution, they're also able to have like some of their vitals checked and to have health maintenance explained to them. And we're looking at certifying the caregivers program, so it's under the nurse aid program of the state of Illinois. We're also looking at developing the arts and culture program, which is to promote the Philippine and Filipino American contemporary and traditional cultures, as well as the history, but also to show the intersection of our cultures with other diverse cultures, because as residents and participants in the greater society, there's a lot of mixtures coming in that we also have to be able to celebrate. Filipino doesn't mean just Filipino American, doesn't mean just Filipinos. It also means the intermarriage with other groups, and so we have to be able to celebrate those diverse cultures as well. in relation to our Philippine culture and tradition. So we have that. We have the arts and culture program. We have human services that we're going to be looking at, the civic engagement program, and how we can align with other groups that we could bring in. And then we also have programs for seniors, and then cross-cultural and multicultural programs, as well as far-reaching towards like the multi-dimensional and multi-generational programs. So we have a lot of things going on. Specifically, we're looking at relationship building. So we want to start by developing regular hours for the center, because for a long time it's been closed to the greater community. So beginning May 6th, we're actually beginning the bingo again. I forgot that because everyone wants some bingo back. So May 6th, it's a Saturday, the senior bingo is coming up, and then May 8th, we're starting with part-time hours for the center. So, and then with an eye of expanding that, we're going to have an open house, hopefully planned, if everyone behaves, on Thursday, May 11th, which happens to be the anniversary date of when Dr. Rizal visited Chicago in 1888. And then on June 3rd, we're partnering with student groups they're bringing in a tenor from the Los Angeles Opera, Sal Maleki, and other people to celebrate Dr. Jose Rizal. And, hopefully we'll have things planned for Dr. Rizal's birthday. Everyone's invited to bring in ideas to us on our open house. And then we have things planned through October, but we can't tell too much about that because we want people to come back and to stay and let us know what they think first and what they want in terms of programs, so that we can develop them further. Yeah.
Wow, there's quite a lot of programs lined up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have them lined up through next January. We just need to be able to get them together. Yeah.
Congratulations. But after the dust settles, after all these things that you have put together or trying to put together, where is your next step, Elaine? What are your plans after this?
So we have short-term and long-term plans. Okay, so the most immediate steps are multi-level to restore community trust, to restore the trust of the community, so that they do feel a part of the Rizal Center, and that they feel that they are able to come back, whether as participants or hopefully as member groups and individuals. And that's a lot, and also building awareness of the programs and the different type of relationships and networking that we have to do. So that is immediate, and something that we will work on ongoing and continuously. And then the other thing is looking at, again, the revenue streams and how to build individual donorship as well as corporate and private funding, foundation funding as well. And so at least for the planning is not just a strategic plan, but a business plan. So we're looking at overall all the different aspects that are dependent on one another in order for 1, 3, and 5-year plans to actually come to fruition. So it's an ongoing process. It's not something that can stop. It has to be built. We need to be able to get the organization, the center, towards a healthy solvency, to bring in new people, for people to return, and so that we don't make the same mistakes with the same ideas. Yeah.
Elaine, you're an amazing woman. Where do you get all these ideas? Just listening to you, it's just that, it boggles my mind. This woman's mind is really full of smarts. You're so smart.
Thank you. Well, I think that in the short time that I've been here and just following things, I've just been really fortunate to be under extremely supportive and courageous leadership like Dr. Crisostomo. And may I also say, and that I have followed your column and followed the things that you've said. So you've been an incredible mentor, a quiet mentor to me. And I would like everyone to know that I'm going to be starting the Veronica Layton fan club, and I'm going to be the president of it.
That's really
no,
funny.
I'm going to be the president because
Oh,
I have been following you for the last few years in your writings, and I
really?
just really
Oh,
love it.
Elaine, thank you so much. That's a big compliment coming from you. But you're the woman that really
No,
amazing me right
no,
now.
thank you. I'm following your lead. I'm following Dr. Chrysostomo's lead, and I'm following the lead of the founding members of the Filipino American Council of Greater Chicago. If none of you, if you didn't do the great jobs that you have done and the vision that you've had, then I would never be able to do what
I
I'm
don't know
doing.
about you. I grew up in this community, but I cannot do what you're doing.
You laid the ground. You laid the groundwork. I am just picking up where I'm supposed to pick up.
You.
Yeah.
That's why I said a really amazing
Thank you.
woman. And one last word before we sign off. Would you like to say something to our community?
Yes, I think that this is a really exciting challenge. I really hope that you give the new Filipino American Council of Greater Chicago a chance, as well as the Rizal Center. And this year I'm going to learn Tagalog, or at least attempt to, right?
Eat Filipino food
Eat
too.
Filipino food too.
We got to teach Elaine,
Yeah.
Lehman to be a Filipino. Like Veronica Layton is really, truly Filipino.
Yeah.
And you'll eat Filipino food, speak the language, Tagalog,
Right.
and everything Filipino. We will call it the Filipinization of Elaine Lehman.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Elaine, thank you
Thank
for
you.
gracing our
Great.
show.
Thank you.
I will call you the Iron Lady from now on. And I wish you good luck for
Thank
all
you.
the endeavors that you're doing in this community, for devoting your time and talent
Thank you.
just to change the community or create something that's positive and wonderful for this
Thank you.
community.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love you. Thank you. It's a great community. It really is. I'm happy to be part of it.
All right.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Elaine. At maraming salamat din po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.